Hey, today I'm talking about Elvis. This is a new American/Australian movie. And fun fact, the main actor, not Tom Hanks, Austin Butler, is exactly 1 year younger than me. That means I have a new birthday, bro. Move aside, Robert De Niro. So this biopic follows Elvis's life. I don't need to explain who Elvis is. I would really describe this as a series of montages that are occasionally broken up with a scene. This movie goes way too fast and doesn't focus on anything. And then it also feels really bloated. This is 2 hours and 40 minutes and you can feel that length. To me, it feels like they had 6 scripts for a 6-part, 6-hour TV show. And then at some point someone decided, hey, this should be a movie. And then instead of like removing storylines and stuff, they just decided to cram down all 6 hours into a 2.5-hour ordeal. And it was just too much. Like, the perfect example of how this movie moves too fast is the scene where Elvis is introduced to drugs. It's literally just a shot during the middle of a montage where a guy is like, hey, I know you're experiencing this problem that hasn't been introduced yet, but here's the solution to that problem. And he just takes the pill without really much thought. And it's like, oh, okay, so now he's addicted to drugs, I guess. What? The beginning of the movie was the worst too. Like, it couldn't decide how it wanted to start. So it was just like jumping around from like 3 or 4 different times. Another thing that bothered me was like, there's just constant music, with some of it being modern, and I really hated the modern stuff. Like, I don't want modern rap in a movie about Elvis. So like, there's songs playing as Elvis is like walking up on stage. Like, it takes like 2 minutes for him to get up on stage at a time. And you're like, oh, building anticipation of like, oh, he's gonna play a cool song, it's gonna be great, and it's gonna be a good payoff. But like, there's no pause between the previous song that was just going that wasn't an Elvis song. So like, you don't get that like the anticipation in the silence, because there is no silence, there is no void, it's just constant song. Tom Hanks's character is super weird. Like, I imagine that's probably what he was like, but he's doing a weird voice and the fat suit is so weird. It seems like Tom Hanks is in a cartoon, whereas the rest of the movie is relatively grounded. I will say they also definitely glossed over how Priscilla was 14 when she met Elvis, and it's like, oh, they're playing a cute romantic song the first time they kiss. But this is a grown man kissing a 14-year-old girl. It's gross. Now, putting all my complaining aside, I will say that Austin did a really, really good job as Elvis. I liked his performance a lot. He definitely kept the movie entertaining for me. Like, even though I wasn't a big fan of the movie in general, his performance was great and definitely made it so that I didn't hate myself for 2 hours and 40 minutes. I really strongly feel like this movie just should have been a 6-part miniseries. Like, it would have gave itself so much time to breathe and it just would have been so much better. So yeah, I didn't really care for this movie and I don't really recommend it. I will say that it did get really good reviews, but even with that, I still don't recommend it. And now for my ranking, I put this at number 25 in the meh category. And this is out of a total of 30 new movies so far this year.